Chosen one, listen closely, for what I'm about to speak is not just words. It is a declaration of divine truth and a revelation from heaven. There are moments in life when the heart feels restless, when hope seems distant, and when the longing for connection weighs heavy upon the soul. You have prayed in silence, hoped in patience, and walked in faith while the world around you could not see your struggle. Perhaps others doubted you, perhaps even you questioned yourself. But God was never silent. He was never absent. Every tear you shed, every whispered prayer in the quiet of the night, every act of love offered without recognition was noticed, honored, and recorded in heaven. There is a battle raging, unseen by human eyes, yet real and potent in the spiritual realm. This is the battle for hearts, the battle that determines alignment, trust, and the fulfillment of God's purpose in relationships. And today, heaven is speaking to you. You have not fought in vain. You have not prayed in futility. You have not loved without effect. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in Him, and I am helped. Psalm 28:7. Your faithfulness, your patience, and your obedience have moved heaven itself. Imagine the unseen forces at work, the angels dispatched, the barriers removed, the heart softened, all while you continued faithfully, trusting even when doubt whispered its lies. This is the divine orchestration of God, working through your obedience and human devotion. You are not passive. You are not idle. You are active in faith. And now the spiritual victory is yours. The one whose heart God has aligned with yours, whether in romance, friendship, or family, is responding to heaven's work. Not by force, not by manipulation, but by the perfect timing and will of God. Today, chosen one, I want you to hear this with clarity and certainty. The battle for hearts has been won. The prayers you offered in faith, the patience you maintained in trials, and the love you expressed with integrity have pierced the heavens and secured alignment. The spiritual victory is not only about the other person, it is about you. It is about the growth, the refinement, the strength, and the perseverance that God has cultivated in your heart. Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. Joshua 1:9. You have endured, you have persevered, and now you stand on the threshold of a victory that heaven itself celebrates. So open your heart, lift your eyes, and embrace this truth. What you have prayed for, what you have hoped for, and what you have remained faithful to, God Himself has honored. You have won the spiritual battle for this person's heart. And the path ahead is not just a promise, it is a living reality of God's faithfulness, power, and love. Today, heaven rejoices, angels stand in witness, and your soul can rest in the assurance that the battle is won, the alignment is divine, and the victory is yours. Chosen one, listen closely. This message is not just words, it is a declaration from heaven itself. There is a victory in your spirit that has been quietly, powerfully won. A battle raged that you could not always see, and yet God's hand was evident in every moment. The enemy attempted to create confusion, sow doubt, and stir fear in your heart. He tried to manipulate circumstances, to whisper lies into your mind, to make you question your worth and your place. But in this spiritual conflict, you were not alone. Every prayer you whispered in the stillness, every tear you shed in secret, every act of patience, obedience, and faithfulness was being gathered as a weapon of triumph. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. Proverbs 21:31. Your victory was not earned by strength, but by steadfastness in alignment with God's will. You may have wondered why certain connections seem distant, why the one you loved, or the friend, the family member, the colleague, sometimes seemed unreachable. Perhaps you prayed repeatedly for favor, for understanding, for open doors. Perhaps the answers were delayed, and you questioned if God even heard you. Let me assure you, every delay, every pause, every moment of waiting was purposeful. God was not silent. He was working unseen, positioning your life and their life, preparing hearts for alignment. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Habakkuk 2:3. The timing of love, of influence, of trust is sacred and cannot be rushed by human impatience. This victory in the spiritual realm is not about manipulation or forcing someone's heart. It is about alignment. It is about God creating an environment in which hearts can open freely to love, understanding, forgiveness, and trust. You see, God honors faithfulness and He honors purity of intention. He sees when you act with integrity, when you remain humble, when you pray quietly without broadcasting your desire. And it is in that quiet faithfulness that He moves the unseen forces, orchestrating the outcome that your spirit has longed for. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. You held peace even in the storm, and for that, heaven acknowledges your victory. You may not have seen the battles that took place in the unseen realm, the discouragement that tried to take root, the lies that were whispered into the ears of those you care for, the temptations that sought to divert your focus. All of it was part of a larger confrontation. But the enemy underestimated God's strategy. He underestimated your obedience, and he underestimated the power of prayer. Angels were dispatched. Divine interventions occurred in ways too subtle to notice, yet too powerful to ignore. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways, Psalm 9:111. Every smile, every word of encouragement, every act of patience became ammunition in this sacred warfare. Perhaps there were moments when your heart ached. Perhaps the person you cared for seemed distant, unavailable, or even resistant to the love and guidance you offered. Perhaps misunderstandings arose, conversations went unresolved, and circumstances were manipulated in ways that made it seem like the victory would never come. But God sees what you do not see. He sees the intentions of the heart. He sees the prayers offered in secret. He sees the consistent effort to act with love instead of anger, faith instead of fear. And it is that consistency, that spiritual endurance that has won the day. Be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. 1 Corinthians 1:5-58. Your labor was never in vain. This victory is not just about romantic desire. It is about influence. It is about trust. It is about the ability to touch a life in a way that no other force, no deception, no doubt, no distraction can undo. When God wins a battle for a person's heart, it is not because the person is forced to feel or act. It is because God removes every obstacle that blocks genuine connection, understanding, and alignment. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to His purpose, Romans 8:28. All things, yes, even the trials, the heartache, the waiting, work together to bring about this spiritual triumph. You may remember moments when others tried to interfere, moments when friends, family, or acquaintances questioned your intentions, moments when people warned you against persistence or called your efforts foolish. They could not see what God saw. They could not perceive the spiritual forces at work, and while human understanding doubted, heaven acted. Your faithfulness and God's omnipotence converged to win the battle quietly but irrevocably. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. Isaiah 4:2-13. Victory in the Spirit is often invisible, but it is powerful, unshakable, and eternal. And now, as you reflect on the journey, you will notice subtle changes, a softness where there was hardness, an openness where there was resistance, a desire to listen, to understand, to connect. Hearts that once seemed unreachable are now receptive. Words that once fell on deaf ears now find understanding. Barriers crumble not through force, but through divine influence, through patience, through love that is consistent, pure, and intentional. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Proverbs 15:1. You have spoken softly, acted patiently, and prayed diligently, and God has responded. This is a moment to understand the depth of spiritual warfare. The enemy often attacks not what you see, but what you value most. He seeks to disrupt relationships, to twist intentions, to sow discord and doubt. Yet your obedience and your alignment with God's will have neutralized his strategy. Hearts are restored, trust is rebuilt, and connections are being sanctified under God's protection, For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians 6:12. This is the battlefield you navigated, and you have won. It is important to recognize the human element in this victory. You have prayed with tears, spoken with sincerity, and acted with courage. You have been patient through misunderstandings, faithful through trials, and kind even when it was not reciprocated. God honors that human persistence, that commitment to righteousness, and He rewards the one who refuses to compromise. Said truth and love. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love Him. James 1:12. The spiritual crown is already yours. The fruit of this battle is being revealed. Chosen one, this victory also brings responsibility. Hearts won are sacred, not possessions. Influence restored is precious, not for manipulation. God's triumph in your favor calls for humility, reverence, and intentionality in how you nurture what has been granted. The person whose heart has been touched is a gift, and your actions must reflect the holiness of that gift. Let all your things be done with charity. 1 Corinthians 16:14. Love with care, speak with truth, act with integrity, and pray with consistency, for these are the instruments of ongoing victory. There is a profound human touch in this journey. You are not an abstract participant in a spiritual battle. You are flesh, emotion, hope, and vulnerability. You felt the disappointment when words failed. You carried the longing when distance separated hearts. You fought internal battles of fear, doubt, and insecurity. And yet, even in your humanness, God worked through you. That is the beauty of divine partnership. He does not erase your humanity, but He elevates it, sanctifies it, and makes it the vessel through which spiritual triumph flows. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Your human weakness became the stage for divine strength, and now the evidence is beginning to manifest. Moments of clarity, openness, and trust are appearing naturally. The person whose heart you longed for, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, is responding not because of manipulation, but because of alignment, faithfulness, and God's intervention. The victory you have labored for is now visible, not only in external actions, but in the internal posture of hearts. And the Lord turned the heart of Pharaoh, and He made His servants favorably disposed towards Joseph. Genesis 4:139. God moves hearts when obedience meets patience. The spiritual battle for influence, for trust, for love has been won, but this is only the beginning of stewardship. Victory requires careful nurturing, continuous prayer, and consistent action. The enemy is relentless, but God is greater. Greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John 4:4. You have seen the proof. Prayers answered, hearts softened, alignment restored. The spiritual realm honors obedience, not aggression. Patience, consistency, humility, and love have always been the tools of triumph. Chosen one, there are moments in life when the heart feels heavy, when uncertainty clouds judgment, and when every step toward connection seems met with resistance. Perhaps you've questioned yourself, doubted your worth, or wondered if your prayers were even being heard. Yet every tear you shed, every quiet whisper in the knee, teat, every act of patience was a seed planted in faith. God was not idle while you wrestled with doubt. The Spirit moved in unseen ways, aligning hearts, softening resistances, and preparing the ground for a harvest that only He could orchestrate. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delighteth in His way. Psalm 3:7-23. Every step you took, whether forward or in stillness, was guided toward this victory. There were times when others could not see your struggle. Friends may have questioned your intentions. Family may have misunderstood your patience. Even the one whose heart you longed for may have seemed distant, resistant, or conflicted. Yet God's kingdom operates in ways that human eyes cannot fully comprehend. The heart that seemed unreachable was never outside of His reach. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Jeremiah 2:9-11. This victory was never yours alone. It was co-laboring with heaven itself. You see, the spiritual battle for someone's heart is fought not with force, not with manipulation, and certainly not with bitterness. It is fought with persistence, prayer, humility, and unwavering faith. Every act of love you offered, even when it was misunderstood, was a weapon against the schemes of the enemy. Every word of encouragement, every moment of silence, when silence was difficult, every sacrifice you made without recognition became ammunition into his sacred conflict. Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4:7. You resisted in patience, in prayer, and in obedience, and now the enemy has been defeated. Do not underestimate the power of faithfulness. It is not flashy. It is not immediate. It is quiet, persistent, and unseen by the casual observer. But it is devastatingly effective in the spiritual realm. The one whose heart God has placed within your influence may not have noticed every moment of your dedication, but heaven did. Angels were dispatched. Divine protection surrounded your intentions. Barriers that you could not see were removed. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. You held peace, even when circumstances suggested conflict. You held faith, even when hope seemed dim. This victory is not simply about emotional longing. It is about alignment, reconciliation, and restoration. Hearts are not won through force or manipulation, but through the convergence of obedience and divine timing. There is a sacredness in the heart of every human being. God orchestrates opportunities for love, understanding, and trust to flourish, and He ensures that the influence you have exercised in faithfulness is honored. All things are possible to him that believeth. Mark 9:23. Belief is the soil in which spiritual triumph grows. You may have experienced moments of frustration, times when patience felt unbearable, and nights when your spirit ached for resolution. But the beauty of this victory lies not only in the outcome, but in the endurance of the journey. Endurance refines character, builds humility, and cultivates a depth of empathy that cannot be obtained any other way. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. You waited, you endured, and your spiritual strength has emerged victorious. Chosen one, understand that love and influence are sacred responsibilities. To have someone's heart aligned with your presence is a trust given by heaven. It is not to be used carelessly or taken for granted. Your victory must now be stewarded with humility, integrity, and care. The heart of another human being is not a prize to possess, but a temple to honor. Let all your things be done with charity. 1 Corinthians 16:14. Your actions following this spiritual victory must reflect the holiness of God's work within you and the sanctity of the heart entrusted to you. There is also a human dimension to this victory that cannot be overlooked. You have felt doubt, longing, and vulnerability. You have prayed with tears, spoken with caution, and acted with courage. These are not weaknesses. They are expressions of humanity used by God to demonstrate His power. He does not erase your human experience, He elevates it. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Your emotional depth, your sincerity, and your perseverance became instruments in the hands of the Almighty. And now, as this spiritual victory manifests, subtle transformations begin to appear. Walls that once blocked trust are softening. Minds that resisted understanding are opening. Hearts that seemed closed are becoming receptive. The person whose heart God has protected and aligned with yours is responding, not because of pressure, but because of divine orchestration meeting human obedience. He that winneth souls is wise. Proverbs 11:30. Spiritual wisdom has guided your hands, your words, and your intentions. This victory is also a testament to discernment. Not everyone who approaches the heart of another is sent from God, and not every opportunity is from heaven. You learn to wait, to test the spirits, and to trust God's timing. You resisted the temptation to manipulate outcomes or force influence. You exercise patience and integrity, and the results are undeniable. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, 1 John 4:1. The discernment you have cultivated ensured that this victory was genuine, lasting, and spiritually grounded. Even in the midst of human imperfections, yours and theirs, God's victory stands. He sees beyond flaws, beyond mistakes, and beyond moments of doubt. What He honors is faithfulness, obedience, and the genuine intention to act in love and righteousness. Let your lights, shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Your consistent goodness, your silent endurance, and your unwavering faith have been seen and honored in the spiritual realm. You may also notice that this victory is not final. It is the beginning of stewardship. Spiritual victories are sacred. They require continuous prayer, care, and alignment with God's will. To nurture a heart that has been won in the Spirit requires patience, kindness, and humility. It requires listening, understanding, and sometimes stepping back to allow God to continue His work in both hearts. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Proverbs 15:1. Gentle guidance, patience, and love will maintain what has been won. And there is an emotional depth to this moment that cannot be overstated. You have long prayed, hoped, and endured. You have been patient when patience seemed impossible. You have acted in love when love seemed unreciprocated. These human experiences, the tears, the sleepless nights, the whispered prayers, have all contributed to this spiritual triumph. God honors the human heart that perseveres, and your vulnerability became a vessel for His power, casting all your care upon Him, for He careth for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Every worry, every longing, every heartfelt plea has been gathered by God and transformed into victory. Chosen one. The battle for someone's heart is not merely a human endeavor. It is a spiritual journey in which heaven is intimately involved. The prayers of faith, the actions of love, the moments of patience, and the endurance of trials all intersect in the unseen realm. And now, as the battle concludes, the peace that surpasses understanding begins to settle, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. That peace is the evidence of victory. It is the confirmation that the spiritual forces that once opposed alignment have been overcome. Chosen one. Now hear this. The victory over the spiritual battle for a heart is not just about the other person. It is about you. It is about the faith you exercised when doubt whispered lies into your ear. It is about the courage you summoned when every circumstance seemed to conspire against connection. It is about the patience you displayed when time delayed answers, when misunderstanding clouded clarity, and when hope felt fragile. You may have thought these moments were insignificant, mere whispers of perseverance, but in reality, they were the defining acts that secured the spiritual victory. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Galatians 6:9. Your consistency, your endurance, your quiet obedience, all of it has been building toward this divine triumph. You may remember nights when you wrestled with fear that your words were inadequate, fear that your heart was too fear that your love would be misunderstood or rejected. Yet even in those moments, your faith held a line that the enemy could not breach. Angels ministered to your spirit. Divine strategies unfolded invisibly. Every act of prayer, every moment of restraint, every whisper of hope was recorded in heaven and set in motion for victory. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to shew Himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward Him. 2 Chronicles 16:9. Your heart was perfect in its intent, and heaven responded accordingly. Consider the subtle ways in which this victory manifests. Conversations that once felt awkward now flow with ease. Moments of tension give way to understanding. Barriers that seem permanent soften under the touch of God's guidance. It is not human effort alone that achieves this. It is divine orchestration working in tandem with your faithfulness. You were the vessel, but God was the engineer. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Your faithfulness allowed God to direct the path of hearts, including the heart you long to reach. Chosen one, the beauty of this victory is not simply in the heart that has been aligned with yours. It is in the transformation that has taken place within you. You have been refined. You have been strengthened. You have been disciplined in patience, educated in humility, and baptized in endurance. What was once impulsive, uncertain, or reactive in you has been replaced with wisdom, clarity, and composure. You no longer plead for recognition. You pray for alignment. You no longer chase love. You cultivate an environment where love can grow naturally. You no longer demand understanding. You trust that God's timing will reveal clarity. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father. John 14:21. Obedience and faith have become the instruments of victory. There is also a profound spiritual lesson in this triumph. Influence is sacred. To touch a heart in alignment with God is to be entrusted with a treasure that must be handled with reverence. This victory requires humility, restraint, and constant prayer. You must guard against the temptation to boast, to manipulate, or to control. The heart you have won is not a possession. It is a gift, a trust, and a responsibility. Let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Order in the spiritual realm is maintained through prayer, wisdom, and alignment with God's principles. Now reflect on the enemy's strategy. He sought to create confusion, to plant doubt, to introduce obstacles that would undermine your influence. He whispered lies to you, to the person you long to reach, and to those around you. But he underestimated the power of persistence in faith. He could not outmaneuver the Spirit of God working in and through you. Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4:7. You submitted, and he fled. Your victory is a testimony to the power of divine partnership in the battle for hearts. Emotionally, this victory carries profound human resonance. You have experienced longing, uncertainty, hope, and fear. You have wrestled with the tension between desire and restraint, between hope and patience, between action and surrender. These human experiences have not been wasted. They have been sanctified by God and woven into the fabric of this victory. The person whose heart has been touched, the relationships that have been restored, and the alignment that has been achieved are all evidence that heaven honors perseverance, sincerity, and love that is rooted in obedience. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Psalm 5:22. You have been sustained, and the victory is proof. Consider also the ongoing responsibility of stewardship. Spiritual victories are not static. They require care, attention, and continued alignment with God's will. You must continue to pray for the hearts you influence. You must continue to act with integrity, speak with truth, and demonstrate love and consistency. You must remain vigilant, guarding against pride, manipulation, or complacency. Watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men. Be strong, 1 Corinthians 16:13. Spiritual strength maintains victory, humility preserves it, love nurtures it. There is also a sacred intimacy in this victory. To touch a heart spiritually is to participate in a divine mystery, the interplay of human free will and divine guidance. The one whose heart has been influenced has not been coerced, nor has their choice been overridden. Rather, God removed barriers softened resistance, and aligned circumstances in such a way that authentic connection and openness could flourish. And the Lord turned the heart of Pharaoh, and he made his servants favorably disposed toward Joseph. Genesis 4:1-39. The principle is the same. Hearts align when God moves and humans obey. Chosen one, this victory is also an invitation to humility and gratitude. The enemy will often try to convince you that your human effort alone achieved this triumph. Pride will whisper that your patience, wisdom, or strategy is the reason for success. But you must remember, it is God who orchestrated every unseen battle, who positioned every circumstance, who directed every thought, and who prepared every heart. You were faithful, God was victorious. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory. Psalm 115:1. All honor belongs to him. There may still be moments of testing ahead. The enemy may attempt to introduce new doubts, to stir misunderstandings, or to provoke impatience. But you have already demonstrated resilience. You have proven that your faith, patience, and obedience are unwavering. These future moments are not threats. They are opportunities to reinforce the alignment that has been established. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life. James 1:12. Endurance preserves victory. Chosen one, understand this clearly. The battle you have just won was never merely about external circumstances. It was about internal alignment. It was about cultivating a heart that trusts, a spirit that perseveres, and a mind that submits to divine timing. The enemy may have whispered fears of inadequacy, of being too late, or of being overlooked. He may have tried to convince you that your efforts were futile, or that the one you desired would never respond. Yet every whisper, every attempt to destabilize, was met by the steadfastness of your faith. You remained in prayer, you remained obedient, and you remained aligned with God's purpose. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27:1. Your victory is a testament to faith that trusts in the unseen and acts in obedience despite fear. There is a beauty in the subtlety of this triumph. Perhaps you have noticed changes in the person whose heart was the focus of your prayers, a softening gaze, a willingness to listen, a desire to engage with sincerity. These are not coincidences. They are the fingerprints of God on human hearts. A man's heart deviseth his, but the Lord directeth his steps. Proverbs 16:9. You were persistent in prayer, diligent in love, and patient in faith. And now the steps of hearts are being directed toward alignment. This victory is visible not only in actions, but in the spiritual atmosphere that surrounds both of you. Chosen one, remember that spiritual battles are not fought in isolation. Every act of kindness, every prayer offered in sincerity, every moment of restraint, and every expression of love became part of a larger spiritual strategy. Angels ministered to your prayers. Divine wisdom guided your words. Barriers that once seemed insurmountable were removed without human intervention. You may not have seen it all, but heaven was actively orchestrating the victory alongside your obedience. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? Hebrews 1:14. You were co-laboring with heaven, and now the harvest is evident. The human experience of this victory cannot be understated. You have felt longing, vulnerability, and even despair at times. You have wondered if your love, influence, and patience were enough. You have faced nights of sleepless prayer, days of anxious waiting, and moments when the outcome seemed uncertain. Yet every tear, every sigh, every whispered plea was not wasted. Each moment contributed to the spiritual momentum that led to victory. God honors the human heart that perseveres in faith, casting all your care upon high. For he careth for you, 1 Peter 5:7. Your cares, your emotions, and your dedication were gathered and transformed into triumph. Victory also carries with it a profound sense of responsibility. To influence a heart spiritually is a sacred trust, not a privilege to be exploited. The person whose heart has been touched must be treated with care, respect, and consistent integrity. Your victory must be maintained with prayer, love, and humility, for the spiritual realm is constantly active. Watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16:13. Strength is not force, it is disciplined faith, guided by God's wisdom, expressed in love and patience. There is an emotional richness in this moment that reflects the human touch of divine triumph. You have experienced longing, fear, patience, hope, and resilience. These are not flaws, they are instruments through which God demonstrates His power. Your heart's vulnerability became the channel for His strength. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12:9. Every moment of perceived weakness was transformed into spiritual power, and the victory you now witness is the fruit of that transformation. Now, as you reflect on this victory, notice the subtle confirmations around you. Conversations flow more naturally, walls soften, misunderstandings resolve, and hearts that seemed closed are opening. This is not due to coercion or human strategy, it is divine alignment responding to your faithfulness. He that winneth souls is wise, Proverbs 11:30. Spiritual wisdom, expressed through patience, humility, and consistent love, has resulted in tangible, lasting outcomes. You have seen the proof: hearts aligned, trust restored, and influence sanctified. Chosen one, this victory is also a lesson in discernment. Not every opportunity to influence a heart is from God, and not every path should be pursued. You learn to wait, to observe, to pray, and to discern before acting. You resisted the temptation to manipulate, to rush, or to force outcomes, and because of this discernment, the victory you achieved is both authentic and lasting. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, 1 John 4:1. The wisdom you exercised preserved this victory and ensured that it was guided by divine purpose rather than human desire. Even as the victory manifests externally, know that the spiritual battle has refined you internally. You are stronger, more patient, more empathetic, and more spiritually aware. What once might have led to frustration now leads to clarity. What once might have caused despair now leads to hope. What once might have created impatience now cultivates wisdom. You have grown in ways that are invisible to the world, but unmistakable in the eyes of God. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. ND. They shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 4:31. This is your personal transformation, intertwined with the victory over the heart you long to reach. There is a sacredness to the human connection involved in this triumph. The person whose heart has been aligned is not an object of possession, but a testament to God's grace and your faithful partnership with Him. The interactions, the conversations, the moments of listening, and the displays of consistent love are all part of a divine orchestration that respects free will and honors obedience. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Proverbs 15:1. Gentleness, patience, and love were your weapons, and they have proved victorious. As you step forward into this new season, understand that this victory opens doors for continued spiritual growth, deeper human connection, and greater understanding of God's work in both hearts. The alignment you see now is a foundation, not a culmination. It is an invitation to steward wisely, to nurture consistently, and to pray persistently. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in God's ongoing guidance as you walk in the reality of this spiritual triumph. Chosen one, now understand that the victory of the heart is never static. It is living, breathing, and requires continual care. The spiritual battle may have been won, but nurturing what has been won is a sacred task. You must continue to pray for guidance, for humility, and for love that reflects God's heart. Every word you speak, every action you take, every moment of presence must be aligned with divine wisdom. Victory without stewardship can fade. Obedience ensures that it endures. Let all things be done with charity. 1 Corinthians 16:14. Charity is love expressed with intention, patience, and holiness. It is the glue that maintains alignment and protects hearts from the influence of the enemy. There will be moments when human flaws reappear, moments of doubt, miscommunication, or misunderstanding. These are not failures, they are opportunities for grace. Your victory is not in perfection, but in persistence, patience, and faith. The one whose heart God has touched will sometimes falter, you may sometimes falter, but your commitment to integrity, prayer, and love will reinforce the spiritual work that has been done. And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. 1 Peter 4:8. Love does not ignore flaws, it embraces them while allowing God to heal, transform, and restore. There is also an emotional depth to this victory that cannot be overlooked. You have experienced longing, hope, fear, doubt, and endurance. You have carried sleepless nights of prayer, quiet moments of tears, and whispered words that no human ever heard. These moments were not wasted. They were sacred offerings. And God used to establish alignment. Every struggle, every tear, every heartfelt plea was a piece of the spiritual battle that led to victory. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Your care, your emotion, and your vulnerability became instruments of triumph in the hands of the Almighty. Chosen one, recognize that the enemy is not idle. Victory in the spiritual realm invites attention, resistance, and even subtle temptations. The same forces that try to oppose you may seek to introduce doubt, fear, or impatience. Yet you have been trained. You have learned endurance, patience, and discernment. You have experienced firsthand that true influence flows from alignment with God, not from human manipulation. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John 4:4. The power that resides within your obedience is greater than any opposition you will face. This spiritual victory also carries a profound human lesson. The heart you influence is sacred, not a possession. The person whose trust and openness have been restored is a gift to be nurtured with reverence. Love, understanding, patience, and humility are the tools that must be wielded consistently. To act carelessly, to manipulate, or to demand control would undo what heaven has established. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Luke 6:36. Mercy, patience, and gentleness are the marks of someone who walks in alignment with God's victory. Consider also the subtle confirmations that appear after spiritual victory. Conversations that once carried tension now flow with understanding. Moments of hesitation transform into expressions of trust. Barriers that seemed insurmountable dissolve, not through coercion, but through divine orchestration. This is the evidence that the spiritual battle was real, that heaven fought alongside you, and that your obedience was honored. He that winneth souls is wise, Proverbs 11:30. The soul you influenced, the heart you nurtured, and the alignment you fostered are lasting results of spiritual wisdom in action. Chosen one, remember the human touch in all of this. Your vulnerability, your sincerity, and your emotional engagement were essential. You were not a passive observer, you were a participant. Your prayers, your acts of kindness, your patience, and your integrity were the channels through which divine influence flowed. Heaven could have moved in many ways, but God chose to move through your heart, your faithfulness, and your human devotion. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Your human emotions were not weaknesses, they were instruments of victory. Now, as this alignment continues to unfold, you must remain vigilant. Spiritual victories can be fragile if left unattended. Daily prayer, thoughtful actions, and consistent love will maintain and deepen the connections God has honored. Your influence must continue to reflect humility, integrity, and faithfulness. Watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16:13. Strength is not brute force. It is discipline, obedience, and alignment with God's will. There is also a profound spiritual lesson in this journey. The timing of hearts is sacred. You may have longed for immediate results, desired faster responses, or questioned delays. Yet the subtle unfolding of God's plan reveals that patience, consistency, and alignment are greater than speed. The hearts aligned now are hearts that have been prepared by time, circumstance, and divine guidance. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Your patience was not passive. It was active faith, preparing the soil for hearts to respond fully and authentically. Chosen one, the victory you've achieved also invites reflection. Reflect on the growth within yourself, the wisdom you gained, the patience you developed, the humility you embraced, and the love you exercised. Reflect on the battles you overcame, the doubts you resisted, the obstacles you navigated, the fears you conquered, and the prayers you faithfully offered. These reflections are not just affirmations. They are reminders of God's active presence in your life and the reality that He honors obedience, faith, and love. The Lord is righteous in all His ways and holy in all His works. Psalm 14:5-17. Your victory is a reflection of His righteousness, working with your faithfulness. And now consider the ongoing stewardship of this victory. The hearts aligned with yours are entrusted to God's care, but they also rely on your continued obedience and integrity. Every act of kindness, every patient conversation, every prayer whispered for continued alignment strengthens the bonds that heaven has established. Spiritual victory requires participation, not passivity. It requires vigilance, not negligence. It requires love that is deliberate, humble, and consistent. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Ephesians 6:16. Faith, vigilance, and love are your armor as you continue in this season of divine alignment. The emotional richness of this victory cannot be overstated. You have experienced hope, doubt, longing, patience, and resilience. Each of these human experiences has been sanctified, transformed into spiritual power, and used by God to achieve this triumph. Tears that fell in secret, prayers that were whispered in solitude, moments of vulnerability and sincerity, they were all recorded in heaven and acted upon. He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Your woundedness, your sincerity, and your faithfulness were all part of the healing and victory process. Chosen one, this victory is not an endpoint, it is a beginning. The spiritual alignment you have achieved opens doors to deeper understanding, stronger connections, a profound spiritual growth. The person whose heart God has touched is now positioned to respond authentically, not coerced, not forced, but aligned by divine orchestration. The journey continues, but the foundation of victory has been laid. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Psalm 37:3. Trust, goodness, and continued faithfulness will nourish the relationships that God has blessed. Chosen one, now hear this. The victory you've experienced is also a reflection of God's patience and perfect timing. The hearts aligned with yours were never hurried into submission. They were never forced into affection, understanding, or trust. The Spirit worked in silence, orchestrating moments, softening resistance, and preparing readiness. Your obedience and faithfulness provided the channel, but it was God who did the work in ways too subtle for human eyes to see. The Lord is not slack concerning His promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. 2 Peter 3:9. Every moment of waiting, every unanswered question, every delay was a part of heaven's perfect plan, shaping hearts and guiding them into alignment. You may have faced ridicule, skepticism, or misunderstanding along the way. People may have warned you to give up, to move on, or to stop hoping. They could not see the spiritual forces at work. They could not perceive the angels moving, the prayers answered, the obstacles removed, or the readiness being cultivated. Yet you held steady. You continued to act with integrity, to pray without ceasing, and to demonstrate love without expectation. And now, as the fruits of your faithfulness begin to manifest, it becomes clear heaven was listening and heaven acted. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Proverbs 15:3. Your patience, obedience, and unwavering faith have been observed and honored. Chosen one, it is essential to recognize the profound human element intertwined with this victory. Your emotions, longing, hope, fear, joy, and even frustration were not obstacles. They were instruments through which God's power flowed. The nights you spent praying, the days you spent waiting, and the moments when you struggled to maintain faith were all necessary steps in the process of divine alignment. Your human vulnerability allowed heaven to act, proving that God's strength is made perfect in human weakness. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Your willingness to remain emotionally invested, spiritually faithful, and morally upright has secured this victory. There will be times when the enemy attempts to reassert influence. He may seek to stir doubt in your heart, create miscommunication, or introduce circumstances designed to destabilize alignment. But you have been trained in vigilance. You have learned to recognize the strategies of deception, to rely on prayer, to trust in God's guidance, and to act with patience. The spiritual victory you have achieved is not fragile. It is fortified by the combined power of heaven's orchestration and your faithful stewardship. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. 1 Peter 5:8. Vigilance, wisdom, and prayer maintain what has been won. Consider also the sacred responsibility that comes with the victory of a heart. This is not a prize to possess, nor an outcome to manipulate. The one whose heart has been aligned with yours is entrusted to both God and your stewardship. You must continue to act with humility, kindness, patience, and integrity. Every interaction, every conversation, every gesture must honor the spiritual alignment that has been achieved. And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. 1 Peter 4:8. Love expressed in sincerity and humility maintains the foundation of victory and invites deeper connection. The emotional richness of this triumph is equally important. You have experienced hope, longing, faith, vulnerability, and resilience. These human experiences were sanctified, transformed, and used by God to achieve alignment. Tears offered in prayer, sleepless nights of reflection, and moments of patience and uncertainty were all woven into the spiritual victory you now witness. Your emotions were not hindrances, they were instruments of divine work. He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Your heart's investment, your emotional honesty, and your spiritual dedication created the environment for heaven to act. Chosen one, understand the subtle but powerful confirmations that will continue to appear. Moments of understanding will arise where once there was confusion. Trust will grow where suspicion once lingered. Barriers that seemed permanent will continue to dissolve, not through force, but through divine orchestration. This is the evidence of spiritual victory, hearts aligned, trust restored, and influence sanctified. He that winneth souls is wise, Proverbs 11:30. The human heart touched by faithfulness and prayer will respond authentically, reflecting the sanctity of divine work. There is also a profound spiritual lesson in discernment. Not every opportunity, not every interaction is aligned with God's plan. You have learned to wait, to observe, to pray, and to discern before acting. You have resisted manipulation, impatience, and the temptation to force outcomes. This discernment ensured that the victory you have achieved is authentic, sustainable, and spiritually grounded. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God. 1 John 4:1. Spiritual wisdom ensures that the hearts you influence remain aligned and that your stewardship honors God's work. Even as this victory unfolds externally, remember that it has transformed you internally. You are stronger, wiser, more patient, more empathetic, and more spiritually aware. What once might have caused frustration now cultivates understanding. What once might have led to fear now manifests as faith. What once might have fostered doubt now reflects steadfast trust. You have been refined, and your growth is inseparable from the spiritual victory you have achieved. But they that wait you upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. Your internal transformation is the living evidence of heaven's orchestration. Chosen one, the human dimension cannot be overstated. Your vulnerability, patience, sincerity, and faithfulness were not liabilities. They were instruments through which God moved. The nights of prayer, the quiet tears, the whispered hopes, and the careful acts of love became channels for divine intervention. Heaven chose to work through your heart, through your integrity, and through your perseverance. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Your obedience created a pathway for God's victory to manifest in human hearts. Now, as you continue forward, the ongoing stewardship of this victory becomes paramount. Spiritual alignment is not a one-time event. It requires continuous prayer, integrity, patience, and love. The hearts that have been influenced, whether in romance, friendship, or family, rely on your consistent faithfulness and humility. Every conversation, every act of care, every patient interaction sustains the foundation of victory. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Ephesians 6:16. Faith, vigilance, and love are the armor that ensures the victory endures. And finally, chosen one, the spiritual victory you have achieved is both a reflection of heaven's power and a call to human responsibility. It is an invitation to nurture, protect, and steward relationships with love, patience, humility, and integrity. Your influence, guided by God, has touched hearts and aligned souls. This is the fruit of obedience, prayer, and faith. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life. James 1:12. You have endured, you have persisted, you have remained faithful, and the crown of victory is yours to steward with grace. Chosen one, as you reflect on this journey, understand that the victory you have won is not just a momentary triumph. It is a testament to faith, perseverance, and the power of God working through a willing heart. The spiritual battle for a heart, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, was fierce. Yet your patience, obedience, and unwavering trust in God have brought you to a place of alignment, restoration, and divine favor. You have demonstrated that true victory is not about force, manipulation, or control. It is about steadfast faith, consistent love, and humility before God. Every tear you shed, every prayer you offered, every act of kindness and restraint has been honored in heaven. Angels have ministered, hearts have softened, and the invisible chains of resistance have been broken. Your human vulnerability became the vessel for our God's power, and your faithfulness became the instrument through which divine victory flowed. The hearts you now influence are touched not by circumstance, but by God's hand working through your obedience, patience, and love. This victory carries responsibility, a sacred call to stewardship. The relationships you have nurtured, the trust you have restored, and the connections you have aligned with God's purpose must be treated with reverence, consistency, and integrity. Love must continue to be expressed with patience, humility, and prayerful intention. Every word spoken, every action taken, and every interaction must reflect the holiness of what God has accomplished in your life and in the hearts around you. Chosen one, remember that spiritual victories are living, breathing realities. They require vigilance, prayer, discernment, and emotional wisdom. They call for continued obedience, faithfulness, and alignment with God's timing and will. The peace, joy, and alignment you experience are not mere coincidences. They are evidence of heaven's orchestration, honoring your faithfulness and human persistence. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. The battle has been won, and now you are entrusted with the privilege of nurturing what heaven has secured. As you step forward into this new season, do so with gratitude, humility, and courage. Celebrate the victories, honor the process, and continue to act in faith, patience, and love. Know that the heart God has aligned with yours, the trust He has restored, and the connections He has blessed are sacred gifts entrusted to you for stewardship and continued care. You have won the spiritual battle, but the journey of love, faith, and alignment continues, guided always by the hand of God. Chosen one, stand in this truth. Your prayers were heard, your faith was honored, and your labor in love was never in vain. The victory is yours, not because of your strength alone, but because of your obedience to God, your patience in waiting, and your unwavering trust in His divine plan. Walk boldly, love humbly, and steward faithfully, for the hearts God has aligned are now in your care, and heaven celebrates with you.